KitKat looks incredibly simple. Just a thin wafer, a few layers of cream filling, and a coating of chocolate that snaps clean every single time. But to make them, the factory has to pump thousands of gallons of liquid chocolate through a temperature-controlled pipe system that runs day and night. A wafer sheet so thin and fragile that a single degree of extra heat during baking causes the entire batch to go soft. And a cream filling that has to be mixed to an exact ratio because too much sugar and the layers separate inside the bar before it even reaches the shelf. From there, the wafer sheets are stacked, pressed sliced into the fingers people recognize, coated in a perfectly even layer of chocolate and cooled through a tunnel that brings the temperature down in a precisely controlled sequence. And by the end of this video, you will understand why behind a chocolate bar that snaps into 4 simple pieces is one of the most precisely controlled confectionery production lines ever built. Now let's take a look at the entire process. At Nestlé's production facilities around the world, more than 15 billion KitKat fingers are produced every single year. In countries like Japan alone, the brand sells more than 300 different flavors. But since the very first KitKat was created in 1935 at a factory in York, England, the original 4-finger milk chocolate bar has remained almost unchanged. Inside the factory, the production process is split into 2 completely separate lines that have to work in perfect coordination. The wafer line and the chocolate line both run simultaneously, and both have to be ready at exactly the right moment. If either one falls out of timing, the entire production batch is affected. That coordination is what makes KitKat one of the most technically demanding chocolate bars to manufacture at scale. The process begins with the wafer, and it starts much earlier than most people would expect. Inside the factory, the wafer batter is prepared by combining wheat flour water and a small amount of lecithin, a natural emulsifier that helps the batter flow evenly across the baking plates without tearing or clumping. The ingredients are mixed together in large industrial mixers until the batter reaches a smooth, thin consistency, almost like a liquid pancake mix. At this stage, the batter has to be used quickly. If it sits too long before baking, the consistency begins to change, and the final wafer sheet will come out uneven in texture. The batter is then pumped directly into the wafer oven, where it is poured in a thin, continuous layer between 2 heated metal plates. This is where precision becomes critical. The plates are set to a specific temperature, and the baking time is measured in seconds, not minutes. The reason for such tight control is simple wafer sheets are extremely sensitive to heat. If the temperature runs even slightly too high for too long, the sheet becomes brittle in the wrong way, shattering during the cutting stage instead of snapping cleanly. If it runs too low, the sheet comes out soft and cannot hold the layers of filling that will be added on top. The result coming out of the oven is a large flat wafer sheet, pale in color, rigid, and completely dry. While the wafer sheets are being baked, the cream filling is being prepared on a separate line. The filling used inside a KitKat is not a standard cream or a sugar paste. It is actually made from cocoa sugar vegetable fat, and in a detail most consumers would never guess crushed KitKat wafer offcuts. The broken and irregular wafer pieces left over from trimming and cutting earlier batches are collected, ground down into a fine powder, and blended directly into the filling mixture. This is done for 2 reasons. First, it reduces waste across the entire production line. Second, and more importantly, it gives the filling its distinctive, dry, slightly crumbly texture that sets it apart from the filling found in other chocolate bars. The filling is mixed in large batches until it reaches an even, spreadable consistency. The fat content has to be measured carefully at this stage. Too much fat and the filling becomes greasy and causes the wafer layers to slide apart under the weight of the chocolate coating. Too little, and the filling sets too hard and cracks during the cutting stage when the bars are sliced into individual fingers. Once the wafer sheets and the filling are both ready, they come together in the layering stage, and this is where the KitKat structure is actually built. The wafer sheets move along a flat conveyor, and the cream filling is spread across the surface of each sheet in a thin, even layer using a spreading machine. A second wafer sheet is then placed on top, followed by another layer of filling, and then a final wafer sheet. The result is a 3-layer wafer sandwich with 2 layers of cream filling running through the middle. The assembled sheets move into a cooling and pressing section where the layers are pushed together under controlled pressure. This step removes any air gap gaps between the wafer and the filling, which would otherwise cause the layers to separate inside the finished bar. After pressing the sandwich, sheets are moved into a cooling room where they rest and firm up before the cutting stage begins. After the layered sheets have been cooled and set, they move into the cutting stage. Here, rotating disc blades slice through the sheets in two directions, first lengthwise to create the individual finger strips, and then crosswise to cut those strips to the correct finger length. The cuts have to be clean and precise. A rough or jagged cut edge causes problems at the chocolate coating stage because the coating does not adhere evenly to an uneven surface. Any piece that is too short, too wide, or broken at the edges is removed and sent back to be ground into filling powder. Nothing from the production line is wasted. At a single Nestlé production facility running at full capacity, the factory produces enough KitKat fingers every hour to stretch end to end across the entire length of the United Kingdom and still have enough left over to cross it again. Every minute, hundreds of individual fingers move through the coating line, and across all Nestlé factories worldwide, more than 17 million KitKat fingers are produced every single day. Once the fingers have been cut and checked, they move into the chocolate coating stage. Liquid chocolate is being continuously pumped through a temperature-controlled system maintained at around 40 to 45 degrees Celsius, warm enough to stay completely liquid, but not so hot that it burns the wafer or causes the filling to melt. The wafer fingers travel along a conveyor directly into the enrobing machine, where they pass through a flowing curtain of liquid chocolate that coats all four sides simultaneously. Underneath the conveyor, a second stream of chocolate coats the base of each finger as it passes through. After coating, the fingers move through a set of air blowers that remove any excess chocolate pooling around the edges, ensuring the final bar has a clean, even surface. The thickness of the chocolate layer is controlled very precisely. Too thin, and the bar loses the rich chocolate taste people expect. Too thick, and the bar becomes too heavy, which affects the packaging weight accuracy further down the line. After coating, the chocolate-covered fingers enter a cooling tunnel, a long enclosed chamber where the temperature is gradually reduced in stages. This controlled cooling process is called tempering, and it is what gives KitKat its signature snap. If chocolate is cooled too quickly, it sets with an uneven crystal structure inside the cocoa butter, producing a bar that looks dull, crumbles unevenly, and does not snap cleanly when broken. By cooling the chocolate slowly through a sequence of temperature zones inside the tunnel, the factory ensures that the cocoa butter sets in a stable crystal structure that gives the surface its glossy finish and the bar its clean, sharp snap. The entire cooling tunnel process takes, and the fingers exit at the other end, fully set firm and ready for quality checking. At certain points during the production shift, samples are taken from the line and brought to the quality control area. There, employees check the color of the chocolate coating, the evenness of the layer, and the overall shape and dimensions of each finger. They also break and taste samples to confirm the snap quality, the texture of the wafer layers, and the flavor balance between the filling and the chocolate. If any difference in snap color or flavor is detected, adjustments can be made to the temperature settings, the filling ratio, or the chocolate flow rate before the issue affects a larger batch. Once the fingers pass quality control, they move into the packaging stage. They travel along a conveyor and are grouped into sets of 2 or 4 fingers depending on the pack format. The packaging film is pulled from a roll, guided through an alignment system, and wrapped around the grouped fingers. Each pack is sealed, trimmed, and sent through an inspection system that checks the seal integrity and the weight of every single pack. Packs that fall outside the weight range are automatically rejected before they reach the box packing stage. From there, the finished packs are loaded into the printed outer boxes, stacked onto pallets, and shipped out to stores around the world. Now you know the full story behind a chocolate bar that billions of people reach for every single day, and why getting that clean snap, that even coating, and those perfectly layered wafers, right, requires a production line where every single step is controlled to a degree most people would never imagine from looking at the finished bar. If you enjoy going inside the factories behind the foods, be sure to follow the channel, because there are still plenty of fascinating production processes waiting in the episodes ahead.